Blood-curdling facts that you wish you never knew, Part 19. Facebook was forced to shut down two artificial intelligence robots named Alice and Bob because they started communicating with one another in their own language. If you ever win the lottery, you're 120 times more likely to be killed by an immediate family member. A sloth has nipples in its armpits. In the 17th century, there was a man named Tare who could eat his entire body weight in just one sitting. And despite being pretty skinny, he would swallow live animals, eat human corpses, and was even accused of eating the body of a 3-year-old toddler. An 11-year-old boy named Konarak escaped Jeffrey Dahmer's apartment but was later returned to Dahmer by police, and he killed the boy just 30 minutes after. It's commonly believed in religion that angels look like this, but according to the Bible, they actually look like this. Blood-curdling facts that you wish you never knew, Part 8. Pigs will eat literally anything. There are stories of pigs entering farmhouses and eating newborn babies. Speaking of babies, doctors believed that they didn't feel pain until 1987, so they would operate on newborns without anesthesia. Whistling was a way in which people would summon demons in ancient times. In 1968, every single TV in America shut down for 25 seconds, and there was a sound broadcasted on all of them that many believe was the devil's voice. People born deaf with schizophrenia often see disembodied hands signing them as opposed to hearing voices. A mysterious skeleton only 6 inches long was discovered outside a ghost town in Chile. It was declared to be human and lived for as long as 8 years. Blood-curdling facts that you wish you never knew, Part 9. The slogan for Nike was inspired by the last words of a notorious killer who was about to be executed. Just do it. Former President Teddy Roosevelt had to watch his mother die due to typhoid fever and then immediately go upstairs and see his wife pass away due to complications during childbirth. Your physical brain smells sweet. The hair frog, also known as the Wolverine frog, will break its own bones and force them through its skin so it can have claws to fight off predators. In the 1960s, scientists attempted to teach dolphins English. However, the experiment soon ended because one of the scientists, Margaret Lavatt, started having sex with a dolphin named Peter, which she claims he initiated. Needless to say, the funding was cut for the experiment and Peter killed himself after Margaret left.
Blood-curdling facts that you wish you never knew. Part 36. Babies bounce. Their bones are so soft that instead of thudding, they actually bounce a little. An Arizona man named Paul Menchaca was arrested after he faked having Down syndrome and hired female caregivers to bathe him and change his dirty diapers. Kids under 5 years old will often try to hide from a fire instead of running, and firefighters find the bodies. Jacqueline Durand was hired to dog sit for a pit bull and German shepherd and was told that they would be in their kennels. However, when she arrived, the dogs immediately attacked her, leaving her with over 800 bite marks and severe blood loss. If you want to sell your organs on the dark web, you'll get the most money for your small intestine, worth about $800,000. This sketch shows the autopsy report of Kobe Bryant after he died in a helicopter crash in 2020. If you look closely, you can see they noted a crown tattoo on Kobe's shoulder. Makes the whole thing a lot more real. Blood-curdling facts that you wish you never knew. Best of 2020, 2021, and 2022. This video shows a man playing Dance Dance Revolution being unknowingly recorded by some people making fun of him. The man, Adam Lanza, 6 months later would shoot his mother in the head while she was asleep and drive to Sandy Hook Elementary School, where he would murder 6 adults and 20 children between the ages of 6 and 7. In the 1960s, scientists attempted to teach dolphins English. However, the experiments were cut short when one of the scientists, Margaret Lavatt, was caught having sex with a dolphin named Peter. She even claimed that Peter initiated it, and after she left, he killed himself. In the 18th century, you could actually bring your cat or dog to the London Zoo and pay your admission by feeding it to the lions. This photo shows 8-month-old Xiao Bao, who is lucky to be alive because his mother stabbed him 80 times after he bit her while she was breastfeeding him. A 46-year-old man found and attacked a 13-year-old boy because he was killing him too many times in a game of Call of Duty. There have been countless cases of people's intestines being sucked out by vacuum toilets on airplanes. So if you want to keep your rectum, be sure to stand up before you flush. A man once donated his recently deceased mother's body for scientific research. Later, he discovered the research facility sold it to the US Army for $5,000, strapped it to a chair, and blew it up with explosives. There are some Native Americans that sided with the Confederates during the Civil War, and some of them even owned slaves. On New Year's Day, this guy was drunk driving with his friends when they ended up killing 2 people. He then posted this video destroying the memorials of the people they killed and posted it to Twitter, all because his murderer friends were thrown into jail. Yuroko Onaja was in the middle of having sex with his 6th wife when his other wives caught him and became jealous. They forced him to do it with each of them, and he stopped breathing before he could get to the 5th wife. You know that moment when you're about to fall asleep and suddenly you flinch because you feel like you're falling? This is actually known as a hypnic jerk, and it alerts your body that you're dying, or at least thinks that it's dying. This is former NBA player Mark Jackson's basketball card. In the background are the Menendez brothers. They're sitting courtside shortly after killing their parents and just before getting arrested. Right now, at this very moment, there are tiny little bugs munching on your skin. More people have tapeworms than have dogs, which I guess makes them the most popular pet. Oh yeah, and this is what they look like up close. You know how every few pistachios there's always one that tastes a little bit different? Well, it's because there's a dead navel orange worm inside of it. Every single day, someone takes the largest shit in the world and they have no idea that it was them. If you're ever eating crickets, make sure to chew them thoroughly and do not swallow them alive. They have tiny spines on their legs which can cling to your throat and choke you to death. And the most blood-curdling fact of all, this series is over.
Blood-curdling facts that you wish you never knew. Part 27. When 14-year-old George Stinney was executed via electric chair, he was too short for the chair, so he used his Bible as a booster seat. He was later found out to be innocent. In the 1600s, Athanasius Kircher invented a musical instrument made out of cats. He would place them in a row according to the tone of their voice, stretching their tails under a keyboard made out of sharp nails. Texas had absolutely no regulations on natural gas until 1937, when a school blew up, killing 295 students and teachers. No one was held responsible, and the event was so bad that even Hitler sent a letter of condolence.
Blood-curdling facts that you wish you never knew. This video shows the last living polio survivor from the 1950s, Paul Alexander. He still uses his iron lung all day, every day. There are spiders that capture bats and large birds and eat their living bodies. Llama spit is actually projectile vomit. You never stop seeing. When your eyes are closed, you're actually just looking at your eyelids. And now, your eyes are closed. I'm sorry, I won't do it again. Being the second most fragile organ in your body, a single punch can completely rupture your liver. A study conducted over several years found that the TSA failed to catch 95% of guns, drugs, and other illegal paraphernalia going through airports.
Blood-curdling facts that you wish you never knew. Part 12. When a person is electrocuted via electric chair, they feel absolutely everything. They're completely aware of their body being deep fried in real time. And one person who survived the first round of electrocution said it tasted like cold peanut butter. As you're watching this video, your internal organs are constantly moving around inside you. Your armpit is where most of your important nerves in your arms are, so if you stab it, it will leave your arm completely useless. Ted Bundy, the serial killer, used to work at a suicide hotline. Scaphism was a form of ancient torture where someone's body was tied between 2 boats and they were covered in milk and honey, and bugs and other animals would feast on their body for days. Cotard's delusion is a rare condition where people literally think they're dead, and many of them ask to be taken to a cemetery to be with other dead people.
Blood-curdling facts that you wish you never knew. Part 34. In 2008, Bruce Pardo snuck into his ex's Christmas party and torched it with a gift-wrapped flamethrower. These 5 Australian children were playing in a bouncy castle when suddenly it was lifted 30 feet in the air by a gust of wind. Unfortunately, they were thrown out of the castle mid-air and plummeted to their deaths. A mother named Heather Pingle died after saving her 4-year-old son from a pit bull. During the fight, she was able to wrap a cord around the dog and strangle it, but not before losing both of her arms and a significant amount of blood. In 1992, a 79-year-old woman purchased a McDonald's coffee, but accidentally spilled it on her lap and suffered third-degree burns. She ended up suing the company, arguing the temperature was far too high, and ended up winning $3 million.
Blood-curdling facts that you wish you never knew, Part 5. Despite if you're using incognito mode, Wi-Fi routers actually keep logs of what websites you visit, and the owner of the router can check this whenever they want. So hopefully you don't have anything to hide. A woman in Russia had a shit ton of twins, triplets, and quadruplets with the same man, totaling to 69 children. Nice. Tarantulas taste like shrimp. According to some cannibals, the most delicious part of the human body is the eyeball, and they especially like licking them. The skin on your lips is the same skin that's on your butthole. Dolphins sometimes bite off the head of a fish and masturbate into the decapitated body. A bubble caused by false vacuum decay could be growing through our universe right now, destroying everything it touches, and we would have no idea because it travels at the speed of light. 2020, please.
Blood-curdling facts that you wish you never knew, Part 6. A scorpion can hold its breath underwater for 6 days, so drowning one is not going to save you. Bee testicles explode when they finish, and then they die. In other words, they end their life with a bang. The human anus can stretch up to 7 inches without tearing, and a raccoon can fit into spaces as tight as 4 inches, meaning you could fit almost 2 full-sized raccoons up your ass. Kangaroos have 3 vaginas. There have been quite a few cases of men who decided to take a piss off the ledge of the Grand Canyon only to lose their balance and fall to their death. When you smell anything, the particles of that thing are actually going inside of your nose. So when you smell a fart, microscopic poop particles are going inside of your nose. Your body produces a cancerous cell every 30 minutes.
Blood-curdling facts that you wish you never knew, Part 1. When creating the Pirates of the Caribbean ride at Disneyland, they couldn't create skeletons that looked realistic enough, so they used real human skeletons. Since then, they've removed all but one. Ducks sometimes become cannibals due to boredom, meaning they kill and eat each other. This behavior begins as early as 4 weeks old. Crocodiles are capable of galloping, similar to a horse. Luckily, alligators cannot. And while we're at it, tarantulas can swim. It's extremely common after you die that there will be extreme gas buildup and you will burp after death. And sometimes dead bodies can even sit up on their own. Also, if a pregnant woman dies, the gas buildup in her body can actually forcefully push a baby out. In other words, a post-mortem baby bazooka. Hearing is the last bodily function to go after one dies, so it's very possible that the last thing you ever hear is the paramedic calling off your CPR.
If you're enjoying the video so far, do me a favor and smash that subscribe button like you would to your crush and click the like button for more. Or this spider will crawl up your nose. Okay, bye.
Blood-curdling facts that you wish you never knew, Part 13. Hundreds of thousands of bodies have either been lost or buried at sea, so every time you swim in the ocean, you're basically bathing in a graveyard. Chainsaws were originally invented for childbirth. Female mummies in ancient Egypt were always decomposed more than the male ones, and this is because the male bodies were embalmed a lot sooner while the female bodies were kept at the family home until they started to decompose a little bit. And this was to prevent people from having sex with the dead female bodies. Vlad the Impaler was called this because he would place his enemies ass first on pointed poles that would slowly skewer them to death. Fatal familial insomnia is a disease where a person literally cannot go to sleep no matter what they take or what they do. The symptoms get progressively worse until they die of exhaustion. And for the last one, you might want to look up who invented blow-up dolls. Blood-curdling facts that you wish you never knew, Part 11. And make sure to watch till the end of the video because the last fact will be from this game called I Wish I Didn't Know. Right now, in your bed are between 100,000 to 10 million dust mites. And if this isn't bad enough, they feast on skin flakes. An octopus is so flexible that it's capable of entering through your mouth, traveling through your digestive tract, and coming out through your asshole. There are over 200 dead bodies on Mount Everest, and they're used as checkpoints by climbers. If you die inside of your house, it's very common that your pet is going to want to eat you. You wouldn't do that, would you? Neil Armstrong's footprints on the moon don't match up with the ones on his astronaut suit. And the craziest one, the natural vanilla, strawberry, and raspberry flavoring actually comes from a beaver's anal gland. Jesus.
Blood-curdling facts that you wish you never knew. Part 17. There's an 8-year-old boy named Amarjit Sada who became the world's youngest serial killer after murdering his 6-year-old cousin, his baby sister, and a neighbor's newborn daughter. The CIA has a legitimate heart attack gun, and it was exposed to the public in the late 1970s. Project Sunshine was research conducted by the US government in which after the atomic bombings on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, a network of agents was recruited to locate recently deceased children and steal their body parts for testing on radiation. Both the US and Russia used dolphins and whales to spy on various countries. The FBI sent an anonymous letter to Martin Luther King Jr. telling him to kill himself. It reads, "King, there is only one thing left for you to do. You know what it is." Guys, I just released my first YouTube video. I'm sure you'll love it. Link in bio.
Blood-curdling facts that you wish you never knew. Part 7. A man was working outside when a fly flew into his eye for a split second and laid eggs. When they began to hatch, they started eating his eye from the inside, and he began to go blind. The Magnapenis squids are a group of rarely seen sea creatures that live 4,000 feet below the surface of the ocean and are believed to grow up to 27 feet long. 20% of young children report hearing voices. The average person only sees 5,000 movies in their lifetime, and Netflix has over 7,000 movies. So if you want to know which ones to watch, there's this really great app, click link in my bio. Even if you follow the 5-second rule, tiny insects can crawl on your food and you'll eat them without knowing. For the role of Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz, actress Judy Garland was forced to live on a diet of coffee, soup, and 80 cigarettes a day. And the actors who played the Munchkins groped and molested her, and she was even slapped by the director for laughing during a scene.
Blood-curdling facts that you wish you never knew. Part 31. Ever since she was a little girl, Jewel Shuping wanted to be blind. So in 2006, she poured drain cleaner in her eyes and blinded herself permanently, and now she says that she's happier than ever. Thanks to FDA regulations, only 10 insects and 35 fruit fly eggs are allowed in a single box of raisins. Cavities are actually contagious, and they can be passed from one person to another by kissing or sharing food. If you've ever donated blood, that blood could be in someone else's boner right now. The man in this photo is an American college student named Otto Warmbier, who's begging for mercy as he's on trial for allegedly stealing a poster in North Korea. Luckily, he returned back to the US, but he had irreversible brain damage, dying just 6 days later. In May of 2016, 11-year-old Elizabeth Gilreath was enjoying her time at an amusement park when her hair became caught, causing her to become scalped. Blood-curdling facts that you wish you never knew. Part 32. In 2018, 2 daycare workers were charged after a video surfaced of them running an underground toddler fight club. The women instructed at least 6 children to have full-on fistfights. The most isolated place on the planet is a little dot in the Pacific Ocean called Point Nemo. It's the furthest spot from any kind of land, and the closest civilization is 1,000 miles away. In 2019, filmmakers hired 3 young-looking actresses to pose as 12-year-old girls for a documentary about online predators. Over the next 10 days, they received a combined 2,458 messages from sexual predators. Sarcasm is actually illegal in North Korea. In 2007, a woman died after drinking a little over a gallon of water in 3 hours. And she did it in order to win a Wii.
Blood-curdling facts that you wish you never knew. Part 10. The chemical weapon sarin gas works by not allowing your body's muscles to relax, so they can constrict but are unable to release, causing every single part of your body to cramp until you suffocate to death. Up until the 1800s, dentures were primarily made by the teeth of dead soldiers. Speaking of teeth, babies' adult teeth are located right below their eyeballs. There was a Roman form of torture known as goat's lick, where a person's feet were soaked in salt water and the goat would lick their feet until their flesh was gone. Most serial killers are born in November. When a woman with breast implants is cremated, her implants will melt and drip to the bottom of the furnace. A man was once discovered to have a fir tree growing inside of his body. The doctors thought it was a tumor, but they soon discovered he had inhaled a fir tree seed and it had sprouted and grown inside of his lung.
Blood-curdling facts that you wish you never knew. Part 22. In the 18th century, you could bring your cat or dog to the London Zoo and actually pay your admission by feeding it to the lions.
ones. Bus seats are specifically designed so you can't tell how dirty they really are. When an octopus reproduces, it removes its penis and throws it at the female so she can impregnate herself, and then he grows back another one. Oysters are actually alive when they're served. They don't die until you eat them. In Australia, there's a plant called the gimbi gimbi, which has such a severe sting that when horses brush up against it, they actually throw themselves off a cliff because they would rather die than experience the pain. Live chat support agents can see what you type before they send it so they can reply quicker. Spider rain, yes, you heard me right, is a real and naturally occurring phenomenon.
Blood-curdling facts that you wish you never knew. Part 14. There was a woman in the 18th century named Mary Toft who shoved dead rabbits inside of her and later acted as if she gave birth to them. And the doctors actually believed her until one of them discovered corn inside one of the rabbit's stomachs. More people have tapeworms than have dogs, which I guess makes them the most popular pet. Oh yeah, and this is what it looks like up close. So you know how every few pistachios you eat, there's always one that tastes a little bit different? Well yeah, it's because there's a dead navel orange worm inside of it. An octopus's penis is actually one of its tentacles, so if you ever got to pet one at SeaWorld, you might have just groped the damn thing. Dying from starvation is because your body used all of its resources in order to feed your brain. And as a last resort, it begins to digest the muscle around your most vital organs until all that's left is your heart. So you die by eating your heart. Blood-curdling facts that you wish you never knew. Part 21. This photo shows 8-month-old Zhao Bao, who was lucky to be alive because his mother stabbed him 90 times after he bit her while she was breastfeeding him. The world's scariest haunted house, McCamey Manor, requires you to sign a 40-page waiver and undergo a physical and mental evaluation. If you manage to make it through the house, you could win $20,000. But to this day, no one has ever made it through. The little girl who voiced Ducky in The Land Before Time was shot to death by her father, who then committed suicide. Roman Emperor Nero had a boy castrated, dressed him up as a bride, and married him, all because the boy looked similar to his previous dead wife. A 46-year-old man found and attacked a 13-year-old boy because the kid was killing him too many times in a game of Call of Duty. Blood-curdling facts that you wish you never knew. Part 18. A man from Queens once spent 5 months in jail completely unaware that his bail was just $2. Since spiders molt, when you see what you might think is a dead spider, it could just be that the spider left behind its exoskeleton and is now bigger than before. Dr. Seuss cheated on his wife while she had cancer, and then she proceeded to commit suicide. Almost everyone on Earth is walking around with a bunch of poop inside of them. Scientists accidentally killed the world's oldest living animal, which was a clam that lived to be 507 years old. Statistically speaking, at least one person who comments on this video will not be alive tomorrow. The real reason you shouldn't eat raw cookie dough isn't because of getting sick from eating raw eggs. It's because you shouldn't eat raw flour, which contains fecal matter from all the birds flying over the field and pooping on the wheat. Blood-curdling facts that you wish you never knew. Part 16. Kangaroos are absolutely terrifying, and if you mess with one, it will likely lure you into the water and attempt to drown you. There's an abandoned Disney park that you aren't allowed to go to, and it was shut down in 1999 because it was infested with free-roaming alligators, the animals were being abused, and an 11-year-old boy died from a flesh-eating bacteria found in the park's waters. In the movie The Wizard of Oz, the lion's costume was made out of a real skinned lion. This is the John Lawson house. No one knows who lives there, but every single day, there are several female mannequins sitting on the front porch wearing a variety of clothing. Their positions and outfits change daily, and many believe this is meant to convey some sort of message. And in 1871, a train crash took place just 200 feet away from the home, killing 22 people. And these mannequins are always pointing toward the crash.